Hi everybody, my name is Claire, and today I'm going to be talking about the Enneagram with you, and what is it, and how can we use it to find our strengths. So let's just get into it. Gotta click. So, basic overview, the modern Enneagram was created by George Ivanovich Gurdjieff, who was a mystic and a spiritual teacher in the 1930s. It didn't arrive on the American shores until the 1960s. Most people do focus on the secular aspect of the Enneagram, but there is a connection with religion and with Christianity, as you'll see later. The Enneagram is composed of 9 types and is noted as a system of personality typing that describes patterns in how people interpret the world and manage their emotions. There are tests to discover your Enneagram type, but unlike other measures like the Myers-Briggs personality test, which do require a test to figure out your type, the Enneagram does allow for self-identification if you just look at all the characteristics and decide which seems most like you. So there are 3 basic aspects to the Enneagram, and each of them is represented by one of these graphics. So for the first graphic, the basis of the Enneagram is a 9-pointed geometric symbol, consists of the outer circle, on which the 9 points or personalities are numbered clockwise and evenly spaced. There is also a triangle between the points 3, 9, and 6, and an irregular hexagon which connects the other points. And the circle represents the wholeness and unity of human life, while the other shapes represent how it is divided. For the second graphic, the types on either side of each core type are called wings. It is believed that wings represent related personality styles which we can transition into in order to develop new facets of ourselves. And many people identify strongly with the description of one or both of their wings, in addition to their primary type. And understanding the influence of the wings can help you to add more nuance to one's understanding of themselves. For example, my primary Enneagram type is 8, but I strongly also identify with the type 9, so I am an 8 wing 9. Each basic type in the Enneagram is also connected by 2 lines to other 2 basic types, like you see in the third graphic. For example, like in this one, type 1 is connected to type 7 and type 4. The first line connects to the type which the person has left behind or repressed in childhood, and the characteristics of this type must be reintegrated in order for the person to develop. The second line connects to the type which the person may grow into once they are ready to reach a higher state of development. But we won't be talking about that as much today. That's pretty advanced level stuff. So let's just get into the types one by one. So each type has a color that is associated with it, and that is what I've used for the background of each slide. There we go, that's a little brighter. So for this is type 1. If you look right underneath my photo, you will see a graphic that is made by @justmyenneatype on Instagram, an account that I really like, and it kind of gives just like a general overview of the type. But there's also some descriptors, and each Enneagram type is either a head type, a heart type, or a body type. And body types kind of go with their gut instinctual feeling. Head types look at things more analytically, like to think through things before they go into them. And heart types really lead with their emotions. So type 1, or the perfectionist or reformer, it's seen as both, is a body type. Perfectionists are responsible and serious-minded pragmatists. They seek to improve the welfare of people and make things better for the greater good. To do this, they use their best judgment to find solutions that can be applied in the real world. They have a deep appreciation and interest in ethics, and frequently spend time evaluating and adjusting their moral compass as necessary. Often struck with a clear life mission, Often struck with a clear life mission, perfectionists hustle behind the scenes to transform their powerful vision into reality with a strong sense of duty and tenaciousness. Quiet and controlled, they will follow through with their words and commitments. Perfectionists are willing to go the extra mile to ensure their work is top-notch and curated to perfection. They take great pride in crafting streamlined schedules and ways to carry out tasks in the most efficient manner possible. Optimization is a lifestyle choice. So, like I said, they're more serious and straightforward during conversation. They're more likely to be blunt, to just tell you what they think. They have really high standards for themselves, not necessarily for others, but definitely for themselves. And they have a natural talent for teaching and instruction. So also, by @justmyenneatype on Instagram, those 2 people that run that account, plus a Bible account on Instagram, kind of came up with a biblical ancestor that fits each Enneagram type. So for type 1, that biblical ancestor is Paul, formerly known as Saul. When he was Saul, he really thoroughly followed the rules and laws, but after he became Paul, he had that desire to be perfect that remained, but also with the knowledge that he is or was deeply flawed. So that is just something that they thought, and I think too, that type 1s can really relate to. So next type is type 2, which is also known as the helper or the giver. So givers are highly empathetic and caring individuals who put others' needs above their own. They have intuitive abilities to anticipate the emotional gaps of others and support them. They find great joy in being available and are seen as a source of encouragement or a shoulder to cry on. Through thick and thin, they're the ride or die companion and friend. Usually open and popular, givers find themselves in a variety of groups and are liked by many. Their encouraging and supportive nature draws in people from all stages of their lives. This is a heart type. So again, they lead really strongly with their emotions. The biblical ancestor for type 2s is Martha. Martha was very hospitable. She was very busy, but she often overextended herself for the sake of others. And she, in Bible stories, can be seen that she was resentful of those who seemed less burdened, but eventually she relinquished her savior complex in favor of trust in others. The third Enneagram type is the performer. Polished and sophisticated, performers have a particular taste for the nice things in life. They have the capacity for huge chunks of productivity to reach their goals and high standards. Their goal is to be remembered and appreciated for their discoveries and creations, to be the best. Smart, ambitious, and typically well-dressed, achievers hit and exceed targets left and right. Their performance and dedication is admired by others and may even inspire them to take action. Achievers typically have schedules chock full of events and professional meetings to keep themselves busy and on the go. They also, like it says, may have interests in improv or acting because of just kind of the comfort of putting on a face that they have. And they are a heart type, so they do lead with their emotions. And the biblical ancestor for type 3s is Jacob. Jacob was known as the deceiver. He was cunning. He was able to win others over, and he was good at what he did, which are very type 3 characteristics. And he exemplified determination and efficiency, which are very type 3. Type 4 is the individualist. Individualists may stand out to others from their unique choice of fashion, unconventional lifestyle, and interests or creative works. Offbeat yet endearing, individualists have a relentless drive to discover and understand who they truly are deep down. Creation, not consumption, is the key to their well-being. They spend a large amount of time reflecting on the past and using experiences and feelings as a springboard for creative musings and new projects. Through a process of continuous exploration of the inner self, individuals produce original work untouched by the expectations of others. They're also a heart type. They also lead with their emotions. They have a lot of prominent artistic outlets. I'm guessing that a lot of artists out there are type 4s. And the biblical ancestor of type 4 are the prophets, because the prophets were unafraid to dive into the uncomfortable aspects of life, including deep within themselves. They were willing to kind of think outside the box to share the story of God that they wanted to. But they also invoked imagination, sorrow, pain, and wonder in the lives of others, which is a very typical characteristic for type 4s. Just as a note, if at any time I'm going too fast, or you want to take a look at these little graphics on the side, you can just take a pause of this video. The next type is type 5, or the investigator, which is now a head type. So these are types that are thinking more with their brains. They're more likely to analyze the things they see instead of kind of just throwing themselves into it like heart types would. Investigators are the pioneers of independent and critical thinking. They're inquisitive and curious about the connections between underlying themes and the mysteries of the universe. Usually introverted and analytical, investigators gather and process information to build with and synthesize patterns and ideas. Their workspaces are typically minimalist, with the exception of a collection of items pertaining to their core interests. They're also fiercely nonconformist and care little about trends or accepted ways of progressing through the stages of life. So people who are type 5s are going to have a few things that they're super, super into and they know so much about, but they're not going to be as interested in more menial tasks. And the biblical ancestor of type 5s is Zacchaeus. So Zacchaeus wanted to learn and observe about Jesus, but from a distance, both physical, and he didn't want to open himself up to Jesus because he was afraid. But once he did open up, he had many gifts to share, which is a big characteristic of type 5s. Type 6s are known as the Loyalists. They're also head types. 6s are dedicated and responsible individuals who are keen on belonging to a social group, and finding their fit in the world. Unlike a lot of the other types, there are two types of 6s, either phobic or counterphobic, which deals with their nervous energy and how it presents itself to the outer world. In order to tell the two apart, phobic 6s deliberately move away from the source of fear and tend to fly under the radar. They're open and expressive about their vulnerabilities and weaknesses, so others can understand their situation in the line of thought. This is their prime defense mechanism to avoid being manipulated. But counterphobic 6s, on the other hand, possess a high-strung irrational fear of fear itself, which may paradoxically translate to rule breaking. They try to keep up an image of independence on the surface, a tough exterior to shield their persistent internal uncertainty. 6s are kind of one of the only types that has such a varying personality in it. Their biblical ancestor was Esther. She was very dutiful, concerned with security, and very loyal to her people. But she was so loyal that she risked her own security for the sake of her people as a whole, which can lead to some negative consequences that we see in day-to-day life now as well for type 6s. The next type is type 7. Wide-eyed and filled to the brim with endless energy enthusiasts are the playful and busy optimists of the world. Their relentless curiosity for new information and experiences play into their stories and gift for gab. At the end of a workday, their minds are often still buzzing with new ideas to explore. They're charming storytellers with a passion for many different hobbies and see the glass as half full. Bright and expressive enthusiasts see the world as their playground and can be considered the eternal children of the Enneagram. They're always on the go. They have childlike enthusiasm and energy. One characteristic I saw described them as having eyes full of childlike wonder. So the biblical ancestor of type 7s was Solomon. Solomon was very forward-thinking, was always looking several steps ahead, and knew how to take a beautiful vision and turn it into an extravagant reality. Type 8, my Enneagram type, is the Challenger. Challenger is a body type, meaning that we go with our gut feeling when we are confronting things in the world. Goal-oriented and self-competent, Challengers trailblaze boldly, through all walks of life and take great pride in their independence and sharp minds. They hold their heads up high and will pick themselves right back up after each stumble stronger than before. As children, they may have been called bossy by peers. As a type 8, I can certainly attest to that. They typically take charge during group projects or meetings and find themselves at ease in leadership roles. The opinions of others will have absolutely no effect on their standings upon an issue, as they pride themselves on being fully capable and self-sufficient. And the biblical ancestor of the Challenger of type 8 was Deborah. Deborah was the only woman to serve as a judge over Israel in the book of Judges, meaning that she was challenging the way that things were, and she was very strong, competent, and sure of herself. The last Enneagram type is type 9, or the Peacemaker, also a body type. Gentle and agreeable peacemakers are the skilled mediators and counselors in a group of friends or coworkers. They know how they work hard behind the scenes in order to keep the group harmony steady and flowing. As children, they knew how to get along, with each classmate making them a great addition to any group project. They can easily see the many different sides to an issue and tend not to jump to conclusions quickly, if at all. Complacent and humble, peacemakers are stable and gentle, willing to go the extra mile to avoid rocking the boat. They're appreciative of the little things others do and the simple pleasures in life. So, the biblical ancestor of type 9s was Isaac. Isaac was very accommodating, he was conflict avoidant, but he was also a bit passive aggressive because the peacemakers like peace so much they often aren't willing to speak up for themselves or others if something is wrong. And they're very content to go along with others' desires. So how do all of these Enneagram types affect us as leaders? Well, by understanding your type, you can let go of habitual patterns and open up to your own inherent gifts that maybe are buried deep within you. As you become more aware of your type, you can move up the levels of growth and ultimately lead from your best self. You understand your reactions, preferences, and how you show up for your team. With this level of self-awareness, we can be free of the patterns that hold us back and develop an understanding of those with whom we interact. So, if you want to read through how your type manifests as a leader, you can take a pause on this screen. This is type 1, type 2, and type 3. On this screen is types as leaders, types 4, 5, and 6. And here are types 7, 8, and 9. In conclusion, I'm obviously not an expert in the Enneagram, considering my notes are on my phone and my presentations on my computer. And there is so much more out there to learn. I am just beginning to learn and just kind of beginning to delve into the world of the Enneagram. But some tips I have, if you are still really interested and you want to think more about what type you might be, explore the hashtag Enneagram on Instagram. I got those graphics on the type slides from @JustMyEnneaType. There's Enneagram and memes, which is a good one if you're looking for some funny Enneagram type jokes, but that also may expose you a little bit. And lots of other accounts on there. And also, if you're looking for some more kind of just word-based, less graphic, there is Truity, TRUITY.com/Enneagram. So I hope you enjoyed this little session on the Enneagram, and I will check in with you next week with a different personality type. See ya!